20 k's to go. 31 seconds, a minute and 2. It's kind of there's a lot here that have a need for speed, a need for something special, and it has actually fractured. That push we saw a few moments ago by EF Education, just shaking things up ever so slightly, but hasn't shaken the resolve of Francis Ajoux. Seem to be riding a very clever race today. Louis Aski's in here as well for them. And a few others don't want to miss this train if, in fact, it's just about to leave the station. AG2R, that was Clement Venturini, is it? No, it's Cosnefroy himself. Didn't want to miss out. Oh, no, he's trapped behind. It's in a different group.
Yeah.
Goodness me.
Him and Trentin is in that group as well.
That's not good. It was Venturini. Meanwhile, Démare just rolls up and says, oh, is that Jake Stewart who's just coming off? No, Démare himself. Has a little dig. No, you know what? My eyes are deceiving me.
Démare is sat about 7-8 riders back.
Midway,
here,
yeah. That was indeed Jake Stewart. That's just taking up the cadence right now. Just setting a tempo for these guys. 59 seconds only back to the Démare group. So slowly but surely they're winding these guys in. Where you have climbs, often you have descents, and you always have to watch out for the turn at the end, usually over a river. Let's take care, shall we? Oh, goodness me. Told you. Nearly went to visit the bakers there, Magnus.
Yeah, it's... especially when you've got dusty tyres as well, and you're looking down as you're starting to brake and thinking, oh, do I dare to turn in on this at this speed with that on the side wall of the tyre? Is the tyre going to hold me if I just rip it around this corner? And with that, you sort of end up almost out braking yourself going into some of these corners.
Oh, do you know what? The pack coming through now, and thanks to GCN and the Discovery app as well. Quite a few DSs do watch us. Jonas Rush just about to go off the front for EF Education. They do watch us, and they send warnings back as well to the riders who are just approaching dodgy corners. So not only do they have radio, they also have video now of what's going off up front. It's a luxury, Magnus.
It is definitely a luxury to have that.
17.5 kilometres to go, so this means we're up on the Vouvray, 6.7% there. This is where we are. They've still got a minute, Magnus, and the way that Abrahamsen is driving this on, he's a sprinter, he's a big guy, he flies up these hills just like breeze blocks do not, and he's got Romain Cardis, pretty much the same in the orange here, just shaking his head after Abrahamsen said come through and take a turn, said no thank you very much. They've got half a minute on the chase. Mozzato, Hajduk, Sam Bennett. Still here, Sam Bennett. We haven't spoken about him for a while. This is a great, strong performance by him.
It's a great ride that he's doing. And I think for the breakaway with Abrams and Carding and Guéjean, if they can get themselves over the next couple of climbs here and effectively crest the top of the final climb with 10 kilometers to go, before they get caught by the breakaway and potentially what happens with the peloton, if there's going to be such a thing by the time we get there, they stand a chance of getting a pretty decent result out of a very long breakaway that they've been doing all day.
This group, to me, looks like a whole bunch of favoured sons, quite frankly. They've got a margin. Even if it's a modest one, there's enough power here to deliver something special, Magnus.
Well, there is, but constantly Groupama FDJ seem to be almost blocking the chasing or blocking the attacks. They jump on the wheel and then they don't follow through and sort of take any turns themselves. And I'm somewhat puzzled as to why. With only 16 kilometers to go, there's a minute left to close down in terms of a gap. If they're thinking Arnaud Démare, then I think they really need to get a move on.
Rasmus Tiller, the Norwegian champion for Uno X Pro, resplendent in that fantastic livery. I do love the way that some teams, I should say, allow the national jersey to be worn loud and proud. They're finally thinking about it, Magnus. I think your message has got through. And Francis Ajoux look like they're trying to kill this one off right now. Démare's still got a lead-out man with him, but is it too late?
but it's more attacks than it is riding on the front, though.
Yeah, true enough. Yeah.
And ultimately, they do have Olivier Legac up there in the breakaway as well. So I guess they're sort of hoping that he's going to be able to finish the job off. But against Sam Bennett,
yeah, seems like a long shot, doesn't it? And we remind you that we've still got Cardis and Abramson as well out front in that trio that have a margin of 16 seconds. It's only 49 back to these guys. They're playing with fire here, Magnus.
Yeah, they are. I mean, it's still 15 kilometers, so it is still possible to close that gap down. But it's getting tight.
It is getting tight.
Out of the road.
15 kilometres to go. Somebody is going to have to reach out at the moment. It's Stefan Kung who's at the back of this little quintet. And there's that Damar himself engaged in a... Damar's back here, I beg your pardon. That's still Jake Stewart, number 7. It's causing me all kinds of trouble.
7 and 1 there, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But they're pretty similar stature as well. That's the difficulty. 15 seconds, 45 back to these guys. And because they're not driving on, they've got company. All of a sudden, this is coming back together. We may have a bunch sprint if indeed somebody doesn't push on out of the front group. Kim Hajduk of Germany is still in that chase group at 16 seconds. And here he is, cool as a cucumber. Or as cucumbers say, cool as a Hajduk.
Well, he's definitely looking very, very good in that group, and I would have said on the last couple of climbs, he's looked by far the strongest out of that group that's coming up. And
certainly has.
Has he got something left? When they catch, it's only 11 seconds now between the two groups up front. Can he launch an attack on the last climb and go solo to the finish?
Well, I watched him in the Crow race, and he had some very good finishes on some pretty sort of rough, peaky terrain, which characterised that race. They kind of stuck circuits with climbs very much at the last. It is Jake Stewart that's doing the pacing at the moment. As you can see on the front, just tucked in behind him, is Jonas Koch as well. Just back to Kim Hajduk. Rode very strongly, the likes of Sasha Modolo and Jonathan Milan, but beat the likes of Mate Mohoric and a few other very much favoured sons on those days. Overpeaks was untroubled by them, and I think in the company he's got out front, he'll believe that he can push on. He's not a bad time trialist on his day either. So let's see how he goes. They're kicking up some dust at the moment, and it may well be into the face of those who would have done something today had they thought better of it.
Last sector.
Last sector indeed we rush into right now. This is a dusty sector, I should say. Still have a climb, 700 metres and 5.1%, but this is the last of our gravel sectors right now, still within the vines. Indeed, soon we'll be heading to Tours. So, just screened by the trees, the autumn leaves just turning, and a few pedals as well in the same manner are doing a fantastic job at the moment. Meanwhile, stuck at the back, Yellow Alace, not going to be his day, and just look at that, it's a beautiful picture in the evening sunshine here as we just come up to 4:30 in the afternoon. Shadows getting longer, frequency of the light has changed, but it's that golden time, as filmmakers call it. And right now it's the man in the gold, Jonas Abramson, who wants to push on. He knows that this is potentially coming back together. He's going to let them have two and two motorbikes. Will they be happy with that? Well, they won't be happy to see this man. He's got a sprint on him, don't forget. And on his day, especially in this kind of scenario, they may well just not give him the respect that he might demand. Let's see if he can hold on. He's only got 35 seconds with 12.9 to go. I think Groupama have played a blinder here. They haven't panicked, Magnus. On occasion, we've been asking ourselves questions as to why aren't they doing enough. Or maybe they have just.
Maybe they have just, 35 seconds with 12.5 kilometers to go. That's definitely bridgeable. And Jake Stewart doing some big turns on the front there. It looks like he's on his own to try and close the gap down. But Jonas Abramson, he's doing a spectacular ride today.
He looks like a cartoon Kirin character, I must say, at the moment. He's sort of hunched over the bike. Looks like he's got trapeze bars on as well. Meanwhile, it's just starting to fracture, and Axel Kirsch decides that he's going to come and join the fun. If fun is to be had, and Sam Bennett wants to come along for the ride as well. They still believe. This is fantastic. So a bit of a reassembly. They caught a brace. They've caught Cardi and Guyon. So, still 35 seconds with 12 kilometres to go. Still a lot of fight left in those who are up the road, and that's going to have to be matched by these guys, Magnus.
Yeah, well, the guys up in that Sam Bennett group, they can't really afford to sit and look at each other. They have to continue working hard, and the problem that they have is that Sam Bennett is in that group, and none of them are going to want to take him to the line. So there will be that hesitation to keep riding. They will lean on Sam to do an awful lot of the work, and if he does that work, then that takes the edge off his sprint as well, coming towards the line. And they still have a 14-second gap to close to Abrahamsen out front, and not that big a gap actually when you start thinking about it. It's only about 15, 16 seconds, less than that, to the peloton.
Well, let's see how he climbs. Jonas Abrahamsen has been doing a great job. When he was at the front of the break, when it came to the climbs, it seemed that the gap started to diminish, and he knows they're coming. He's looking over his shoulder here, and he'll hear the clatter of the gears as they come through, and just looking for the rest of the peloton. There's a motorcycle waiting for them to suddenly show themselves at the bottom of the hill here. Not quite, so there's still a margin. Time to dig in. It's Roman Cardis who now stretches his legs. On his back wheel, Axel Kirsch, who comes through right now. And look at that, still cool as a cucumber, is Kim Hajduk on the wheel right now. Ollie Legat can't quite stay with it, but wants to. And this may well be an extending, and it is. It's gone out to 37 seconds now with 10.9 to go. If they can get themselves together as a time trialling unit, anything's possible, Magnus.
Yeah, it definitely is, and Sam Bennett got popped quite early on that climb as well. But this is a good little group here now to continue pressing on. But what is the speed in the peloton? Who is going on the move here now?
Well, if I had to guess by the looks of things, it's Jake Stewart and Arnaud Démare himself on his back wheel, who wants to come and play the game. Well, it's a question that's been asked, and here come the answers. But it looks like they're being spat out of the peloton. And not in a happy way, I can tell you. That, to me, looks like we may well have Caden Groves back in the frame. Let's wait and see. In fact, it doesn't look chunky enough to be Caden. Is it Dion Smith? We'll wait. 10.4 kilometres to go. Well, have they or have they not misjudged this? If they win, then they've judged it perfectly. If they finish second, they've misjudged it. It's as simple as that, Magnus.
Yeah, it is as simple as that. But this Groupama still got Olivier Legac up in the group there with Hajduk and Alex Kirch still chasing on, trying to bridge the gap to Abrahamsen, who's doing a phenomenal ride. But yeah, Hajduk not happy.
I'm not taking you guys all the way to the line. Do some work. Well, I don't particularly want to work with him because he's so good. And in a situation like this, he may well just be the best. 9.9 kilometres. You get something or nothing, Magnus.
Well, I also think Legac can afford to sit on the back of that group and say, look, it's fine, you ride and you take me to the line and you try to out-sprint me, or we sit up and we wait and Arnaud Démare wins the bike race.
And then nobody gets anything. Yeah.
And nobody gets anything, exactly. I think I would have definitely played that card at this point to just say, look, you know, for me, it's fine if you ride, and if you don't, then that's cool as well.
Meanwhile, spitting out this group, that's Clément Rousseau who's just pushed on. Goodness me, the rest of them are coming through. 21 seconds, 9.3 kilometres, and it looks like it may well have been a masterful piece of work by Groupama Francis Desjeux, but do not discount Christophe Laporte from Jumbo-Visma, Benoit Cosnefroy from AG2R Citroën. They've got Ollie Nason in there, although he was hanging at the back for a wee while, and Abrahamsen still pushes on, but I feel for him, Magnus. There is the chase, and it's almost within touching distance, and Kim Hajduk is issuing oaths here for these guys to do a little bit, at least. Ollie Legac is here, and I wonder whether his team have actually said, look, dig in, have a go, but don't let on too much that we're coming. I'm not sure. Oh dear, what a strategy you'd have to call. You're going to be a DS, Magnus. What's happened?
Well, what's happened with at this particular point, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think if I was the DS for Groupama, I would have told Legac to sit on here and then just try and make that jump and go solo. Alternatively, we're coming from behind with Demar, so don't stress about the situation. Just be calm and play the game.
Play the game. Asking to play for it is one thing, delivering it is another. B&B Hotels here, I believe it's Luca Mazzato in the sort of aqua blue. Sam Bennett's regathered himself, Magnus, and that can be a dangerous thing.
Well, it can be, but look back at that peloton. Groupama FDJ are not riding still. They're not committing to bringing this back, and yeah, it's still very much hanging in that sort of fine line whether we're going to get caught or not. I ultimately think if they get together for a lead out with whatever's left in the peloton, I guess we should really take that into account as well. There's a lot of teams who are not here with full manpower, and yeah, who's got riders left to burn to bring this back?
Well, this is Abramson looking back and thinking I could do with a bit of help at the moment, but does he like the complexion of those who are bridging? Kim Hajduk is here. He cannot shake them off his wheel. Alex Kirsch is doing a great job. He's got a big time trial credential as well, the Luxembourger. 30 years of age now, run up in the Samin a few years ago. Hasn't had a pro win, but would love one, and possibly in his mind is thinking he could possibly get one today. 30 years of age, very tall man. 194, so what's that, 6'3" thereabouts. I should know, I'm 6'3".
6'4", I'm 193.
There you are. I must be 192 then.
You may have shrunk.
I think I might have done. Oh, it was that hard parachute landing. 16 seconds is the gap, 6.8 to go. Magnus, let's talk us into town then very, very briefly. There is a big turn. There's a couple it's a sequence of left-handers that we have to be concerned about. The last one is 800 metres, and then we go up Avenue Gourmand, but only for that shorter distance. It used to feel like a country mile, didn't it, that finale?
Yeah, well, it did. Yeah, there are also a couple of turns to deal with, but on relatively good sort of road, so it's not, I wouldn't say it's something too much to worry about. And the fact that the final straight is 800 meters long is enough for you to come out of that last corner in a not ideal position even, and as long as you've got riders around you to take you up towards the front and drop you off in due time, 250 meters to the line, then you can still have a good finish. But ultimately, it's all about the timing of that move that they're going to have to make.
So, just looking at Lotto Soudal getting themselves into the frame here. Of course, they have Campenaerts, but they've also got Philippe Joubert, and he's here, Magnus. Dare we dream?
Yeah, I'm just trying to see, is that Olaf Koy from Jumbo-Visma in that group there?
Can't quite tell just for the time being, but Olaf Koy and Mike Turnison, lethal combination. Olaf Koy, at the beginning of the day, we were having a little chat about what his credentials or indeed his thoughts might be, and Koy's certainly one of those that you're going to have to ponder with today. So let's have a look at this long line. Arkea Samsic, take your pick, quite frankly. There comes Freddie Frisson. Arnaud Delay is not here, I'm afraid, for Lotto Soudal. He would have been their big pick today, declared abandoned from the race, which means that Philippe Joubert might have some options today, but it's looking like it's going to be an out-and-out sprint, and as a result, it's just about anybody's guess. Oh.
Still 17 seconds to close down, though.
Still, you're absolutely right with 4.9, and they've gone cagey, but they have got that final turn with 800 metres to go, and I kind of feel even if it's a margin of, let's say, 5 or 6 seconds, they'll believe that they can do it. Matti Louvel for Arkea Samsic will be their choice today. Not quite sure whether it's going to be him, however, or perhaps one of their other souls. They're lining up at the moment. The GAC still here within this group. They've still got 15 seconds. And how long have we been saying this for? You'll see the pack come round, but this is a whole sequence of 90-degree turns. And if you're four men, you're going to be hitting those apexes far easier, Magnus, than those chasing on.
Yeah, but as you can see, the roads are still relatively wide, so it's not too difficult, and the group isn't massive either. But it's more a question of who's got the manpower here now to ride and to put this on. It looks like Arkea Samsic and Cofidis are doing a lot of the work. There's one Jumbo Visma rider up near the front as well. It's still, I think, ultimately, if it comes back together, Groupama sitting in a good position with Kung and then Arnaud Démare just behind.
Jonas Koch is there, but I cannot see a few others that I've been looking for. Was waiting to see whether Matteo Trentin has actually made the trip here. I can't believe he hadn't. He should be here. He looked strong earlier on today, and in a reduced group after a tough day, which the pace has garnered, you just never know. Right, I'll call in as it stands at the moment. They have a gentle right-hander coming up, then two left-handers which have to be dealt with, and there is Philippe Gilbert with Florian Vermeersch. Phil Gilles in the frame, but a little bit far back at the moment to really be a contender, I would have thought, but you never know what might happen. Sometimes dreams come true. It might be that he's raising his arms just in acclamation of a round of applause at the end of the day. We shall wait and see. Meanwhile, Jelle Valais is still here, just been disengaged right now as we run through this line. There is Philippe Gilbert. I don't think it's going to be his day, but it'll be a fond farewell from us all. It's on the back wheel of Jesper de Boist at the moment. I beg your pardon, on the back wheel of Clement Devy, it was, I think. Meanwhile, 2.8 to go, and here we are. They're lining him up. Is that who is that, Magnus, that is going to be led in here for UAE Team Emirates? There's Trek as well, just tucked in here.
UAE Team Emirates, I think he would have to be, if Ackermann is here, and I haven't seen him, otherwise it will be Matteo Trentin who will do the sprint for UAE Team Emirates. But it's currently Arkea Samsic who are riding, and that will be for Hofstetter, I think. They got Omri Capio as well, who's pretty quick, but I would think Hofstetter would be the one.
Yep. Meanwhile, they just drift to the side of the road. Who's your pick from Trek? Tom Squinch took a tumble, of course.
I think they will go with turns on this.
I think you're right. Any but dive bombing, not a bit of it, just for the time being. It's very calm. Still 6 seconds up to the group up front. 6 seconds with 2 kilometres to go, and suddenly they're changing the cadence. They've decided that the pace has to be altered here if they're going to get them back, Magnus. They're playing with fire still, aren't they? But it looks like we may well just get that settlement that we were hoping for. Let's see.
Yeah, well, I think for 4 seconds, it's as soon as they open up the final lead out, then that's gone in a heartbeat. So it's coming down to a sprint.
It is. De Wolf took a tumble earlier on. I don't think it's going to be him that's going to have a chance for AG2R Citroën. 1,500 metres we've got right now. Shape yourselves up. Olaf Koy is here, Magnus, but it looks like he's going to have to go solo, and so are so many others by the looks of things. Arnaud Démare, the only man with a lead-out man, as far as I can gather. There's few others just gathering themselves into position right now. Sam Bennett still also very much involved, Magnus.
Yeah, well, it's all ones and twos from different teams here now, trying to set this up for a sprint. A little bit of traffic there, a bit of chaos. But at the moment, Stefan Kung is sat there in front of Arnaud Démare, just waiting.
Caden Groves just being, in fact, it's Dion Smith who's in the frame here. Can't see Caden Groves just for the time being. Mind you, here we come on to Gaumont. Time to open up then. It's a heads-up view for absolutely everybody. If you've got anything, then now's the time to invest. You can't afford to hold back, and Lawrence it is that goes for B&B Hotels and then backs out of it, plonks straight back down in the saddle. Doesn't want to be drawn into it. Olaf Koy is in the mix here as well. Arnaud Démare on in front, but does not want to light it up just yet. Daren't do so. Pascalon, I think it is, that's just heading for the centre of the road. Can't make any mistakes at the moment. It's Rasmus Tiller from Uno X Pro that's also in the frame here. And time to pick it up for Cofidis. Coquard just hits the front, but now goes Démare. He's on the barriers. He's got the front view. Nobody's going to head him, I don't think. It's going to be a photo of the line. It's going to be on the throw, and Démare's going to get there, I believe. It's a 3-up line. Oh, and he gets there. Thank heaven for him. And indeed, he's repeated the feat. Groupama Francis Desjeux. Well, we said if they win it, Magnus, they've timed it beautifully. Second place will have been a disaster. But you know what? They did the job. Arnaud Démare has brought it home. Talk about strategy and keeping your powder dry until the very last moment. He only had to make a statement at the line, and he did.
Yeah, he timed that well, but what a final turn that was from Stefan Küng as well. Opened up that lead up very, very early, and just did it smart as well. Progressively got faster and faster, and Arnaud Démare, I thought he looked like he was going to get boxed in for a second there, but managed to get clear.
Talk us in, Magnus.
Helicopter view. Démare is quite clearly ahead at this point, but then he's got a number of riders coming out. It is actually Sam Bennett, I think, who's just coming up there in the final, in getting third place, and is that turns.
Very good work.
Yeah.
Sam Bennett has done so much work today, almost getting there. Démare with the victory. Ed Turns coming home for that third place. Sam Bennett, do you know what? I just didn't believe that Sam Bennett would be able to sustain such a day and still deliver. Runner-up spots, he'll be disappointed with that because he's such a great competitor. But there's no doubt that, excuse me, Arnaud Démare, master of his destiny, Magnus.
Well, he was, and what a team performance it's been as well. They, I thought it looked like they were leaving it a little bit too close for comfort, but ultimately it all came back together in a great way, and Arnaud Démare had the power to finish that off, but not without being challenged somewhat. I mean,
here's that heads up, and Sam Bennett absolutely screamed. He was on the wheel of Démare. And then went for the barriers very late, but it was so very late. He was almost toe roped to the line. Good finish as well by Rasmus Tiller, the Norwegian champion. Arnaud Démare, nice to see that smile back on that visage. He's a great rider, and he's repeated the feat as we kind of half predicted, Magnus.
Yeah, we half did, didn't we? And yeah. First rider since Philippe Gilbert to win 2 in a row.
Just waiting to see Philippe Gilbert come across the line here, and just wonder if he would sit up to take some applause, but not a bit of it. He drove it to the line. So, confirmation on Démare, just pipping Ed Turn, Sam Bennett late finishing in third place. Consoni Mozzato it was from BBK, Fedor van Gestel, Dujardin, Louvel, Capio, and Ugo Hofstetter. Arnaud Démare has won back-to-back Paris Tour, and we offer him our heartfelt congratulations. That was terrific.